Welcome to Jay's Gamepad, everybody, and all my fellow G's and gamers out there. Wagwan. First and foremost, I'd like to ask if you could please like, subscribe and hit the bell notification if you like man's content or any of my content. Much appreciate you. Let's get into this video and article. Sony patent adds weight to PlayStation 5 redesign rumors, slimming down. Now, I wanted to talk about this topic and get into this article in particular because there's been quite a few rumors in regards to there being a PlayStation 5 Slim and the PlayStation 5 Pro. And there's also been talks about this detachable, removable disk drive for like the new Slim line or something like that. And it got me into thinking about different possibilities to the Slim and the PlayStation 5 Pro. So let's get into this article, man. Sony has filed a new patent for a detachable optical disc drive, which, while not confirmed by any means, adds extra credence to those PlayStation 5 redesign rumors floating around late last year. The patent is described as, quote, an optical disc drive that can be mounted in electronic equipment such as a game machine, personal computer, or audiovisual AV equipment, end of quote. While the PlayStation itself is not specifically mentioned, this does seem to line up with insider gamer reports on the subject, that diagrams of the device are shaped similarly to the disk drive proportion of the existing PlayStation 5 models. Interesting. Now, this got me thinking about a few things, a few possibilities. Now, think of it this way. If PlayStation 5 wants to do a slimline version of the console, I can't imagine them making the console any slimmer than the diskless version. Like, it needs all that space for that power. Let's keep it real. Yes, the PlayStation 5 is quite a big console, but even when you take out the disc drive, it's only going to be as big as the diskless version. Now, if you have a removable disc drive that you can plug in, then that's cool because it gives the option or the feature for gamers that only have the digital version. It gives them another dimension where they can buy the disc, the disc drive, and plug it in and buy, you know, like physical games and stuff, which is actually really cool. And that way Sony saves a whole bunch of money in mass producing a whole bunch of new consoles. That would be the logical thing. That would be a logical thing for Sony to do. Now, in regards to the PlayStation 5 Pro, it got me thinking the other way. Now, picture this. Picture them taking out the actual disc drive out of the PlayStation 5 right now. If you took out the disc drive but you kept the same shape, what you could do with the Pro version is that you have more space to add more, more components, to make it more powerful. So technically you can make a Pro version of the console without redesigning the console at all, because you get all that space where the disc drive was to work with, to add new, new SSD, it gives you more space to put more components into that machine to make it more powerful. So again, if Sony wants to look at a way of trying to save money without having to redesign a whole new console for their PlayStation 5 Pro, they could still do that by taking out the disc drive but keeping the shape of it and adding more components, more technology into that console, so therefore it makes it more powerful. Now this is what I was thinking about when I was reading this article, because the disc drive, the removable disc drive within itself is a good idea if they do it that way for the Slim and for the PlayStation 5 Pro. But if they want to redesign the whole console or whatever, that's going to be mad peas, and the amount of time and energy it's going to take to mass produce this console, it doesn't make any sense. Sony can still make a lot of money by just designing the disc drive and allowing people to buy it for the diskless or digital version of the PlayStation 5. That makes sense to me. Sony can still save a lot of money by not having to pay a bunch of money redesigning for the PlayStation 5 Pro, but just by taking a disc drive and just adding more components and technology to make it more powerful, and bam, that's your Pro version. These are in my opinion, these are the innovative, creative ways and cost-effective ways to do this. Now, it mentioned about they wanted to make the PlayStation 5 more heavier, like more weight to it. Because what I will say is that there's been 3 versions of the PlayStation 5. The first one is actually quite heavy. The second one is medium. And the third one that they brought out recently, maybe like 3-4 months ago, maybe a bit longer, I can't remember, is actually really, really light. Now, I've got the second version. I don't have the first version. I've got the second version. So it's still quite weighty, but it's lighter than the first version. And the first version is light as a feather, because I know someone's got it and I've touched it and it's like, this shit is really light. And obviously, if you don't know, like Microsoft, Xbox, Sony, PlayStation, when it comes to bringing out different versions of the same console, or even with the slimline versions or whatever it is, it's because they want to find ways to make this console more cost effective. You know, when the console's been out for a certain period of time, technology moves on, so they find really clever ways of making the console smaller by using cheaper components, so forth and so on. That's how they're able to put this whole like PlayStation 5 or the new Xbox Series X into smaller boxes, because technology moves on like that. Now, I think with the climate of, you know what I mean, like the global climate, climate when it comes to, you know, inflation and recession, no one don't really have money like that. Because when you look at like the PlayStation VR 2 that Sony just released, yes, they say that it's doing reasonably well, but it could have been doing so much better if they chose to release it in such a better time, when people are not struggling with money and bills and just the cost of living and stuff like that. Because I've said it again and I will say it, well, I've said it many times and I will say it again, gaming has become an expensive hobby. So if you're going to bring out a piece of hardware that costs more than a console itself in a time of where like the general consumer doesn't really have money like that, you're not really going to sell well, you're not really going to do well. Which is the reason why at the beginning of this video I was talking about Sony, like making the slimline just a digital version. Just say, okay, this digital version with like, we're gonna bring the attachable disc drive for it. And again, with the PlayStation 5 Pro version, you just utilize the space by taking out the disc drive and bam, you know what I'm saying? You just like put like more components into it, and you use that same disc drive that you use for the discless version for the Pro version. That's a cost-effective way of doing it. At the same time, Sony gets to make another piece of hardware that people will go and buy, whether you got the discless version or the PlayStation 5 Pro version, because you're gonna need it if you want to buy physical media. You know, so I just think in this climate, it's a really cost-effective way. It's a very smart way. It's a clever way of doing it. Whether Sony's going to do it or not, I don't know. But do you know what? Like, I would have thought that as a company, you know, like Sony, you would think of ways to make money, but as well as it being cost-effective, or doing it in a cost-effective way, should I say? And in my opinion, that's probably the best way to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, like that's just what I was thinking about when looking at this article. In regards to the weight of the PlayStation 5, maybe they want to make it a little bit more heavier, because maybe a lot of people had issues with it where they've plugged the plugged the controller into PlayStation 5, and when it yanks or it pulls the PlayStation over, and people PlayStation 5s are falling over and busting. I don't know, but the point is that when I picked up the third version of the PlayStation 5, it was light as fuck. And in a way, it's a good thing, especially if you want to mount it on a wall or something, then that's a good thing because it's light. But in regards to it being on, like, you know, tabletop, you know, or on the side or by your TV, again, if you yank it, we've got the controller plugged in and it falls over, or if you bump it and it starts tilting over and falls over, it's not a good look. So maybe that's the reason why Sony's looking to maybe put a little bit more weight into the PlayStation 5. I don't know, but in general, let me know what you think about my thoughts and opinions in regard to the PlayStation 5 Slim and the PlayStation 5 Pro. Obviously, it's all rumors, you know what I mean? It's just like whispers in the gaming streets, you know what I'm saying? But let me know your thoughts and opinions and feelings in regards to what I said in the comment section down below. Anyway, that's about that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe and hit the bell notification if you like man's content or any of my content. You can also hit me up on the social, Twitter, Instagram and Twitch, Jay's Gamepad across the board. You ain't got tap, press anything else but that. And also if you want to find me or hit me up on PlayStation, my gamer name is MrGhostProtocol. So I guess I will see you and speak to you real soon.